really good competition like the Eagles, like the Spartans. So after these last 4 games, I mean, what have you seen from your team about how they do stack up against these nationally ranked opponents?
Yeah, I think the first thing is just, we played with those guys. Usually when you're going up against those teams, people are afraid or they're scared or, they kind of bow down to them just because the pedigree or the image that they've created as a program, which they've both been really good, for a long time. Mm-hmm. So we were proud of our guys' fight. I think the big part is just the finish. If you can look at any of our games throughout the year, whether we're up or down, we are in every game until the end in just about all of them except for maybe 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. So now it's being able to finish it, but the other part is, this week we kind of went back through and reflected on a lot of stuff, as a program. Just as with me, we're always, looking inward to find adjustments, to find ways, because if you keep doing what you're doing and you're getting the same results, as a coach, you're not doing the best thing for you and your guys. Mm-hmm. So had some really good conversations. Kind of dove back into just what our culture is and what we're about, and kind of just went back to the basics in terms of building trust and having belief, and just understanding that when a guy's number gets called over you root for that guy.
Right.
It's the coach's decision to make that. So if there's a conversation to be had, part of being a man is just coming up and talking about that. Mm-hmm. So with all of that, what we decided was if we can get back to the chemistry, and we can get back to the little things, and we can just go through the pursuit and enjoy what we're trying to do and just believe in whoever's in front of us, we feel like that can provide an energy and focus that allows us to be in any game. Mm-hmm. So that's a big thing that we kind of reflected on this week. Obviously, you don't want to go 0-4 against those 2 teams.
Right.
We're still constructive. We're not blind to the fact that there's things we need to work on. We just had to get back to a ground point and understand that until we establish those things, we can't have any sort of success. Mm-hmm.
Well, and something I've been meaning to ask you about is one of the new NAC rules this year, which is the 7-inning game ones of doubleheader. Game 1 is 7 innings, and then game 2 is the normal 9. And over the last couple of series, we've seen you guys in game 1, the 7-inning games have been really close losses for you guys. I mean, 1 run, 2 runs, maybe even 3, whatever it is. So how are you and your coaching staff kind of approaching that new rule this year in terms of that 7 inning? Because, I mean, you have 2 less innings to come back, to build a lead, whatever it may be. And how do you guys, what are you doing to translate that into wins, especially in these game 1s that we've seen close losses from you guys?
Yeah, I think the first thing that helps is just with the pitching depth of stuff. You throw your best arms in those games because it allows you to, if you can get a lead fast, if you can score first, you can kind of hold it down. Mm-hmm. Also, you have to use less arms in those games.
Right.
Most games, it's a race to like 6 or 7, in terms of scoring runs. Mm-hmm. So in those, those shorter games, I think if you can score first, if you can throw your best guys, it gives you the best chance to win.
Right.
So that's been a big focus for us in those games. And if you look at any games, especially good teams against good teams, the 7, 8, and 9 inning is where you can make your money in terms of coaching and depth.
Right.
So I think it just anything can happen in the 7 inning games. Mm-hmm. We don't love them, like by any means. I won't lie to you on that. Would much rather play 9s.
Right.
But the way the schedule's set up, it helps out teams that maybe don't have as much pitching.
I gotcha.
So that's kind of our viewpoint on it. It's been fine. It's just not most ideal.
Right. Well, you're talking about pitching. I want to talk about one hitter right now, which is Jake Mahler. I had a chance to talk to him on the weekly last week, but I wanted to get your point of view of him in that he's had a fantastic breakout season. I mean, He's been getting more and more playing time since you guys got back from Florida, really. He's already appeared in more games this season than he did all of last, and I mean, he's hitting at a 370-plus clip right now. He's getting RBIs. He had a home run yesterday against Aurora. What is he doing from your point of view, from the hitting coaches, whatever it may be, that has led to the success he's had this year? I heard from him last week, but I want to see from you coaches just what is Jake doing that has turned him into a productive everyday member of that lineup?
Yeah, I think the first part is just when you look at the lineup across the board, there's a lot of production in terms of how we operate and what we're trying to do. Mm-hmm. We've been known to score runs. We're averaging 7.3 runs a game this year.
Right.
So that gives you a chance. Transition over to Jake, I think that creates the competitive balance because everybody wants to be in the lineup. Mm-hmm. And for him, he's really good because he gets on base high, but he also gets a lot of hits.
Right.
To add him towards that that 5 to 7 range, it's like having another guy that could hit in the middle that you move to the bottom. So he's dynamic in the sense that he knows who he is offensively. He's kind of been waiting his turn, and then when he got an opportunity, he maximized it.
Right.
You know, you hope every guy that you put in when they play, they have success. It's not that easy because that's not how baseball works.
Right.
So to get him in there and have another guy that can swing it, that can get on base, it's been really cool. And obviously, you know, his brother Brandon has caught for us for 2 years. So I think for them it's really cool because once you get back in that lineup together, you know, that's something really special. And then both of them had surgery this summer, you know, so they dealt with a lot of the mental side of things and, you know, the uncertainties and the patience that you can adapt based on going through all that rehab. So it's just another cool story of, you know, somebody that stayed the course, somebody that was in a spot that, you know, we talk about if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. You know, he got an opportunity and he's maximized that. So he's been an awesome guy to add to the lineup. And just makes us a little bit more dynamic.
Well, and then to wrap up here, Coach, I mean, you guys are back in conference play this weekend. You're taking on Edgewood on Saturday, of a non-con on Sunday. But we've been talking about, you know, all these closer losses you guys have been having by just a couple runs. What's it going to take, and what do you want to see on against Edgewood on Saturday to kind of overcome that, to make up those last couple runs that you guys are losing by right now, to break this losing streak you guys are on? Just what's it going to take Saturday, and then moving forward to kind of get over that couple run hump that seems to be stopping you guys right now?
Yeah, and this is crazy to say, man, but it's a lot closer than it looks.
Right.
You know, and I think going back to the foundation of, you know, the chemistry and what we're trying to do, that's going to be the base of everything. The other part of it is if we can just put the pitching and the hitting together in the same game, we'll win games. The last thing, you know, that kind of goes into it we talked about yesterday is just we can't change what's happened. You know, you can learn and you can go through it, and that's how we have to operate. But at this point, you know, we're prepared, we're ready, so who cares what's happened? You know, learn from it, move on, and we have a chance to control our own destiny.
Definitely.
You know, that's very much where we're at. We still have a chance, too. It's not like, you know, we're 12 games in with 12 games left in conference
Right, you still have
play.
plenty of time left.
Plenty of time. And it used to be only 6 teams, now 8 get in. Why not us?
Right.
You know, so it's developing that mentality that, you know, it is close, that we can put it together. They just got to keep showing up and got to keep believing in each other, you know, because if you can create that energy and we can put together games with how we played against Benedictine and Aurora, it's going to be really scary.
Right.
So it's a lot of different factors, but, you know, we got to play to win, not play not to lose.
Definitely. Well, CUC Baseball, they take a trip to Edgewood this Saturday. Games are set for 12 and 3 p.m. and coverage can be found at our website, cucougars.com. Coach Connor, thanks again for joining me today. Good luck this weekend, and look forward to talking to you again next week. But until then, this is Peter Borkowski signing off for the Cougar Sports Network and wanting to say, as always,
changes. God has called and equipped people to make a real difference in the lives of others. To lead, to heal, to stand tall. For 160 years, Concordia University Chicago has been preparing the next generation of leaders with the wisdom, faith, and values to make an impact in the world, to share the gifts God gave them and answer the call to a life fulfilled by purpose and truth, to be living examples of what it means to live with Christ at the center as we serve others. Because at CUC, we don't run away from adversity, we go towards it. We don't shrink from our faith, we lead with it. We are teachers, caregivers, and musicians, scientists, pastors, and business leaders, unshakable pillars of strength and integrity who serve a cause greater than ourselves. And the world needs us now more than ever. Learn how a degree from Concordia University Chicago can help you be the pillar the world needs to stand for something greater. The only question is, are you ready to stand tall?
Welcome to the Thunderdome here on the campus of Concordia University Chicago as we get set for some non-conference baseball between the visiting Bearcats of Willamette University and your Cougars of Concordia University Chicago. Peter Borkowski joined by Troy Prattley on the Cougar Sports Network. And Troy, kind of an interesting game here for the Cougars. It's a non-con, which is a little odd to see this far into the conference schedule, but this will be a good test for the Cougars. They're facing off against a talented Bearcats team who is receiving votes nationally for the top 25.
Yeah, and this Bearcats team comes in on they've got a 20-7 record overall. They've only lost 2 series throughout this entire year, and they just came off a series win against North Central in Naperville this weekend. And it's a hot team. These guys have scored over 12 runs in their last 9 games. They're averaging 12.44 runs scored in that span. So it's a team that's going to hit the ball here today. So Pritchard's going to have to be good for the Cougars, the left-handed pitcher here, number 1.
Well, that brings us to our starting pitcher, as Troy mentioned, Tyler Pritchard. He has made 4 appearances so far this year. This will be his first start on the season, a 10.80 ERA coming into today across 3 1/3 innings of work. 4 hits given up, 5 runs, 4 of which were earned. So, Troy, this is a good test for Tyler Pritchard as well. He's a younger pitcher. He's only a sophomore. Spent last season as a reliever. He's been a reliever up to this point, so it's a good chance for Coach Connor, pitching coach Matt Smith, to see what they have in at number 1 as he's starting against a team who, like you said, puts up a ton of offense and is just a very talented team overall. Willamette sitting second in the Northwest Conference at 12-6 in conference play. Only one non-con loss all season for the Bearcats. That came against the North Central Cardinals in their recent series. So we'll see what they can do here against Pritchard, and I'm sure we'll see a bunch of CUC pitchers today as they're maybe resting up their mainline starters for conference play, which will resume after today. CUC coming off a split against Edgewood College yesterday. Took game 1, lost game 2, and now they're facing off against the Bearcats all the way from Salem, Oregon. And getting us started today is number 2, the second baseman, Tasso Foster. Foster, a righty, going up against the lefty and Pritchard, and he's going to take a ball for the first pitch.
And you mentioned the pitchers for the Cougars, and that's kind of what you get when you play 9 games in 9 days, Peter. And so it's often, we saw last time we were here at the Thunderdome against Aurora, they used 7 pitchers in that second game of the doubleheader. So we'll see if that's a strategy here from the Cougars. But they got a lot of arms on this roster. It is a really deep team and definitely a plethora of arms if they needed to go there today.
Meanwhile, Pritchard's worked a 1-2 count against Foster, who fouled off that last pitch as the next offering is made contact with, and it bounces off Yashawn Boswell at short. So Foster will reach first safely, and it will be listed as an error on the first-year shortstop in Cougars uniform. Boswell listed as a junior, a transfer to CUC this year. He commits the error, and the Bearcats got their first base runner of the day for arguably the best bat on the team and maybe even the Northwest Conference as a whole. Jeff Hoffman, .417 batting average that leads the conference, at .810 slugging that also leads the conference, and he also has a .532 on base, second in the Northwest for the best on base plus slugging in the entire conference. And now he's got a leadoff man to work with as Pritchard fires one high and away for ball 1.
Yeah, not an ideal start there. You don't want to get the leadoff guy on here for Hoffman. Pritchard did a good job of there getting a ground ball in that first at-bat, but unfortunately for the Cougars, not able to field it. So now there's a guy on here for, like you were saying, the Bearcats' best hitter.
Pritchard, another pickoff attempt to Foster at first. Foster has scored 35 runs this year. That is third most in the conference. In terms of his stolen base numbers, he's got 5. He's been caught stealing 1, so doesn't take off a ton, but when he does, he's usually successful, as Pritchard made a 2-0 on Hoffman. Next offering to Hoffman is fouled off into the Bearcat dugout. So we'll get set for the 2-1 now.
You can just see how far Eli Hickman is out there at center field. He looks like he's only a few steps from the warning track out there.
Hickman in center for the Cougars. Julio Cajigas in left, and Tyler Dorsch in right. Speaking of Dorsch tracking this pop fly down, gets under it and makes the grab for out number 1. And Troy, that's a good response there from Pritchard. You let the leadoff man on because of an error, so what do you do to their best hitter on the team? You get a relatively routine fly out to Dorsch and right.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you pound the strike zone and you rely on your defense to make those plays behind you, and you still got an opportunity for a double play here. So, it's very possible they could go 3 up, 3 down here, and that would be a good first inning for the sophomore on the mound.
Well, that brings up number 27, the designated hitter, Rocco Granucci. Granucci also having a nice year at the plate, .310 average. He has driven in 27 runs. That is top 10 in the Northwest Conference, as the first pitch that reaches home plate is swung on for a strike.
And Granucci chased that one low and away there. A good first pitch by the left-hander.
Granucci, a junior out of San Diego. Made the trip north for school, as the back pick is nowhere close, but good close off there by Kasich to make sure it doesn't go too far away.
You mentioned taking the trip north to school, and if you look at this Bearcat roster almost entirely, their roster is from California. There's a few from Texas, a few from Oregon, and a pair from Arizona, but it's a good portion of this team. Probably 75% is from California.
California, or at least the western portion of the U.S. You do see some Washingtons, which of course are right next to Oregon, Texas, Nevada, one Missouri, as this ball is going to drift foul. So Granucci will have to get set to do it again.
It's been a really confident approach here by Pritchard. I mean, he's pounding the strike zone, putting a lot of balls over the plate, but so far not a ton of solid contact for the Bearcats.
And again, just a piece of it is Granucci. So he stays alive for at least another pitch. Good piece there to keep the bat keep the at-bat alive. As Pritchard still just one pitch away from getting out number 27. As he gets set, checks the runner at first, now delivers. This one fouled again. Almost fair, but just hopped on the left side of the bag.
Just the last few foul balls here, pulled down the third base line. We'll see if we get some sort of off-speed changeup here to see if he can get Granucci way out in front.
Granucci gets out at least one more time. The 1-2 again. This is fouled straight back. So Granucci doing a good job here. 2-strike mode, protecting the plate, staying alive. As you can see down in the Cougar pen, already a couple arms warming up. So CUC likely using that strategy we talked about of throwing multiple pitchers out there early. Of course, it also depends on how quickly Pritchard can get out of here, as he's still fighting a 1-2 against Granucci. The next offering down low for ball 2, so evens up the count at 2-2. Pritchard checks the sign from his battery mate, fellow sophomore Brandon Mahler. It's an all-conference honorable mention last season and has been just as good this season in his sophomore campaign as Pritchard checks the runner at first. Mahler will be batting fourth in the cleanup hole for CUC when we get to that portion of the inning, as this ball is drilled into center field. Tracking it down and making a grab is Eli Hickman. Coming in and falling forward for it. Hickman makes the grab, and that'll be out number 2. What a play there. That shows just how good Eli Hickman is defensively for the Cougars, Troy.
Yeah, and those line drives to the outfield are just so hard to tell. And they say what you got to do is freeze. You freeze on the line drive, and normally on a pop fly, your first step is always back. But on those line drives, it's kind of hard to tell, just how far that is. And so you saw right there, Hickman kind of held his place and then bailed to his left, and almost kind of banana routed that one to get working back into the ball to make sure that one did not get over his head. So a good textbook play there by Eli Hickman in center field.
And like you mentioned earlier, Troy, Hickman is back there in center field. He looks like he's taken a couple steps up from when Hoffman was at the plate, but still playing pretty deep in the outfield. So he had to come a long way for that line drive. But either way, it brings up number 9, Carl Lawson, the left fielder, who swings at that one for strike 2, 1-2 count now.
Yeah, that was a good at-bat, though, by Granucci. There was a 9-pitch at-bat, fouled off a lot of pitches, and that's what you need out of your first few batters, especially in the first inning, kind of work the count of the Cougar pitchers.
The 1-2 misses away, makes it 2-2, especially when you're going up against a usual reliever in Tyler Pritchard. You want to get his pitch count up because, these relievers usually are not used to a lot of stamina, a lot of work. So if you can get that pitch count out, maybe the bottom end of the lineup in the inning can do something about it, as it's now 3-2 on Lawson. As talking about Pritchard's endurance, he's pitched just about an inning per appearance, as this one is popped way up. Coming in for it is the first baseman, Kasich, and makes the grab for out number 3. So the Bearcats squander a leadoff runner, and the Cougars are going to head to the bottom of the first, still tied up 0-0. See what the offense can do when we're back here on the Cougars Sports Network. Back here on the Cougar Sports Network as we get set for the bottom of the first inning. Bearcats throwing out number 31 on the mound, Stephen Verespi. 4-2 on the year, 7 games, 7 starts, 10th best ERA in the Northwest Conference at a 4.27. So kind of different approaches here pitching-wise. Troy, the Cougars probably going with a bit of a bullpen game. They threw out a main line reliever in Tyler Pritchard. Meanwhile, the Bearcats, they're just throwing out one of, if not their best starters on the year.
Yeah, and it tells you, just the different approaches from the two teams and maybe where they're at in their season. Willamette is going to have that time to travel back to Oregon, whereas the Cougars, well, they're already here, right? And so it's almost a week until the Bearcats play again. They play George Fox next weekend, next Saturday. So they've got time for those arms to rest back up, certainly on their travel back.
Despite this being their 4th game in 3 days, they played North Central once on Friday. They played them twice yesterday, and now finishing up this Midwest trip with a single game against the Cougars. And as for CUC's offense, it starts with Eli Hickman, the center fielder who we've already seen make a nice grab on the day. Has an 0-2 count, make that a 1-2 count. But Hickman has the best batting average on this squad, 391 in 26 games played. He started all of them but 2. He's got 27 hits at 69 at-bats as he fouls this one off and loses his bat as well. Ball goes one direction, bat goes the other. But Hickman's still able to stay alive. And a little bit more grip on that one.
Did not have that on my Sunday afternoon bingo card, Peter.
That thing was launched, too. That was a high bat. That was a good 15, 20 feet on the foul netting. Luckily, everyone's okay as Hickman stays alive after that foul ball. Got a good reaction from the CUC dugout. As now the 1-2 from Verespi is outside, makes it 2-2.
And this is a good approach here by Hickman. Another good at-bat by your leadoff guy. Again, just the same strategy as it was for the Bearcats. See a lot of pitches. Make sure that, your guy on deck there, Tyler Dorsch, even the other guys in the dugout, can see kind of what's going on there, as now he's worked the count to full.
It's a good check swing on that one. He started to, but able to hold it back in time. Didn't even need an appeal, as it is now 3-2. It was 0-2 in one count, so good fight back from Hickman. The 3-2 is going to be bounced foul. So we'll stay alive for yet another pitch. Hickman will be fouled up by Tyler Dorsch on deck, and then in the hole is Julio Cajigas. Those two are guaranteed at-bats this inning.
And for the Cougars, like we were saying, they're going to resume NAC play on Wednesday, so they only have a couple days before they play again, and likely going to use their main rotation in those conference games because they mean just a little bit more. So that's kind of the difference in approach here as far as the pitching goes today.
Well, and the good thing about this Cougars rotation, as we'll talk about that in a second, the 3-2 swung on and missed, strike 3. So Verespi, after a long fight, gets Hickman down swinging, and that'll bring up Dorsch. But I was going to say, the good thing about this Cougars pitching staff is they only have 2 pitchers who are really starters in terms of the purest sense. White McLaughlin, 8 games, 8 starts, and Dylan Scott, 8 games, 8 starts. After that, you have a lot of guys who have some starts, have some relief appearances, so just a ton of arms for pitching coach Matt Smith to use in whatever fashion he deems it necessary in terms of starts, reliefs, whatever it is. So Cougars got some nice flexibility in that regard. But let's focus on the offense for now, as it is Tyler Dorsch up to bat. Dorsch is going to take ball 1 low and away there. He's batting .320 on the year. He started all 27 games he has appeared in and is coming off a sophomore year last year where he really exploded onto the scene, and he's been just as consistent in his junior season right now as he takes a strike there, makes it 1-2.
And so far in these first couple at-bats, we've seen the confidence from Verespi in that off-speed pitch and a full count. The 10th pitch of the at-bat against Hickman, he went with the curveball, and right there you saw it again with 2 strikes. And so the curveball sets up that high fastball there, Peter, as you see that ball come off the hand, and it's at eye level, and on the curveballs, the breaking balls, they drop down into the strike zone. So oftentimes you'll see pitchers elect for an off-speed on the first strike, after the first strike, for the second strike so that they can come back with the high fastball because they say it changes the eye level.
We'll see if Julio Cajigas can make the necessary adjustments as he fouls this one off, makes it strike 1. Cajigas, .324 average, 27 games played, 27 starts.
It's just something the Cougars are going to have to be aware of, is that first pitch there to Cajigas was an off-speed breaking ball as well.
So 1-1 after that ball miss. Cajigas, a senior out of Romeoville, Illinois, came to see CUC last year as a transfer and is now about a week away, less than a week away from his senior day on Saturday. This upcoming Saturday. A couple of senior days on the campus of CUC as the 1-2 swung on and missed, strike 3. Verespi looks dialed in as he strikes out the side, and we're going to head to the top of the second. No score yet here at the Thunderdome. Bearcats taking on the Cougars. We'll be back in just a second on the Cougars Sports Network. Back here on the campus of CUC, Bearcats up to bat against the Cougars, and the Cougars throwing a new arm out there. Tyler Pritchard done after 1 inning, no hits, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts across 24 pitches, and now they turn to number 30, Aiden Tehan, who, Troy, he's made just 2 appearances on the year. It's been a little rough sailing, however, for Tehan. A 17-18 ERA across 3 2/3 of an inning. So in this bullpen game, though, for CUC, you hope he can just get in. You really just need 1 inning out of him. More would be great, of course, but you've already dedicated to being a bullpen game. So hopefully Tehan can come in here, kind of forget those past struggles, and just get 3 outs.
Yeah, and the key for Tehan is just throwing strikes. He comes into this game with 8 walks and only 1 strikeout, so a good first pitch there from him to get that first strike, and we'll see if he can keep that up and just pound the strike zone. We saw that from Pritchard in the first inning. Allow your defense to do the work behind you. Just put the ball over the plate for him.
Well, he isn't able to do that on the second pitch, makes it 1-1. He's going up against the first baseman, number 36, Luke Piazza, 333 batting average in 22 games. He started all 22 of them, as he takes a big hack at that one for strike number 2. So 1-2 count on Piazza. Charlie Furbit and Wyatt Thames are on deck and in the hole respectively, as Tehan misses low. Cougars also throwing out another lefty in Tehan, so they start the game with 2 lefties in Pritchard and Tehan, but he's going up against a lefty batter in Piazza. As Tehan gets set and delivers, this one bounces past Brandon Mahler, so that loads up the count 3-2.
Sounded like that one might have bounced right off the plate. Didn't sound like normal dirt.
3-2 count now on Piazza as Tehan delivers and gets a swinging strike. Piazza sits down. That'll be strikeout number 1 on the day for CUC. Tehan's first as well in the first batter he faces. And now it'll bring up the right fielder, number 8, Charlie Furbit.
This is the 3rd consecutive left-handed batter for the Bearcats. They go 3 righties, 3 lefties, and 3 righties to round out their 9. And as you were mentioning, 2 left-handed pitchers here from the Cougars so far. So typically, you'd like to be on the opposite side. So with a lefty pitcher, you see a righty batter. But so this stretch here, the tougher stretch for the Bearcats against the left-handed pitcher.
It'll be a 1-1 count now on Furbit, and unless I am missing someone, Furbit is the furthest eastern player on this Bearcats roster, as he pops this one out to center field for the out. Say Furbit is from St. Louis, Missouri, which might not be that east in the grand scheme of things, but for a team in Salem, Oregon, is pretty far east. Either way, wherever he's from, he flies out to Hickman, and now he'll bring up the 7th batter, the center fielder, Wyatt Thames.
Do you think Missouri's part of the Midwest?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
As a Missourian, I don't know why I said Missouri yet, Missourian myself, I think it is one of the pinnacle Midwestern states. Right down the line. Missouri. I think, maybe this is a hot take, I think Indiana is where you start to get a little questionable, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think that's when you start moving a little east.
So you don't consider Michigan a Midwest?
Do you consider Michigan a Midwest?
As a Michigander, I do.
Okay.
I think Iowa is the stretch for me.
Iowa. So the stretch going west.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Missouri's in there. I think Illinois is for sure.
Like I think
in there.
Iowa's the Plains. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but in my mind, that's what I feel like.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I think Kansas, which is just about as far west. Kansas is pretty plainsy, pretty Midwestern-y. Now, do you think, as the 2-1, I guess we should talk about the baseball. This one lined up the middle past the diving Boswell, and that'll be the first base hit of the day for either team. So Wyatt Thames gets a single with 2 outs. And that'll bring up the 8-hitter, Liam O'Connor, the shortstop. I was going to ask, do you think the Midwest stretches north and south too? Do you think there's a limit north and south, I should say?
No, I think Missouri is as far south as the Midwest goes. I see this chart here now that I'm looking at this, the map of the United States. I can see how Iowa and Missouri. See, this doesn't include Michigan though. This considers Michigan up north. But I don't know, how is Wisconsin the Midwest then? I mean, Wisconsin's more north than Michigan is.
I don't really consider Wisconsin Midwest. I don't know why. I think it's too north. I think you go too north, you go too south. I think you lose the Midwest.
This
this
thing has
chart,
Iowa.
which if only we could throw this graphic up on the screen, that chart differentiates the Midwest from the Great Plains.
Right, which is what I was saying, that I considered Iowa the Great Plains, but they're saying that Iowa's the Midwest and that it's like a straight up and down from North Dakota to
Here's
Texas.
a steal attempt to throw down to second. No good, so a stolen bag for Wyatt Thames. So they get a runner in scoring position with 2 outs, a 2-0 count on Liam O'Connor. Interesting Midwest talk for some Sunday afternoon baseball.
The nicest weather we've had here in the Midwest in a while, though.
Yeah, about a high of 80, I think, is on the docket for today. Mid to high 70s, so beautiful day for some baseball to get out of the house after we had a couple weeks of just pretty miserable weather. As the 2-1 now is in the dirt. That'll make it 3-1 on O'Connor.
Yeah, the week before last, it kind of rained 6 out of the 7 days there. We had
rainy week.
tough time getting these home sporting events in, these spring sports.
Yeah, baseball and softball as well, dealing with a lot of postponements as this ball is bounced foul down the third baseline, so a 3-2 count on O'Connor.
And yesterday was the first time that our men's tennis team was able to play at the home courts this spring as well.
Also true. They split against Concordia, Wisconsin, lost to them first, and then they took on Lakeland and won in the second game. As the 3-2 is going to be a slow dribbler. Michael Kasich picks it up, and he's not able to get the runner. Just kind of a tough play there for Kasich. As there's a slow dribbler, O'Connor clearly has some speed to him. And Aiden Tehan not able to get the first in time either. So a very well-hit infield single as Coach Connor looks like he's trying to make an argument here. Maybe something to do with the base pass, and now he's going to head back to the dugout.
Yeah, kind of just dribbled out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, almost as good as a bunt, if you will, and a good play there to slide head first away from the tag. And normally they say that running through the bag is faster than sliding, but in that case, when you're running away from the tag, able to get as low and away as possible away from the tag
You're trying
of
to
Kasich.
elude the tag.
Yes, and
And
adds that extra variable into there.
The other variable was you had Tehan almost setting a screen on Kasich. Tehan was running over there too. It might have been better just to let Kasich take it himself, clear the path for him. But either way, runners on the corners now for Caden Davis, number 14, the catcher for Willamette, as he makes contact with this one. Boswell scoops it up, flips it to second for the out. So the Bearcats strand a runner 90 feet from home plate, and the Cougars are able to keep it scoreless as we head now to the bottom of the second. 0-0 Cougars taking on the Bearcats. We'll be back on the Cougars Sports Network. Brandon Mahler will get us started off here in the bottom of the second. Bearcats strand a couple of runners in the top of the inning, and now Mahler and the Cougars offense get back to work against Verespi as Mahler makes immediate contact, lines it to the third baseman Hoffman, who makes the play across the diamond for a quick first out.
And that was another good example of Verespi bringing the off speed on the first pitch, but this time Mahler chose to connect with it on the first pitch, which means he more than likely was looking for it. You typically don't swing at an off-speed pitch on the first pitch of the at-bat unless you know it's coming. And so that could have been the strategy or the talk in the dugout after this last half inning was, hey, if you see that curveball high, let it fly.
Well, this ball misses high and in for ball number one on the Cougars. Junior third baseman Tyler Crater. Crater, 262 average in 28 games played, all of which have been starts. Crater, kind of like Dorsch, I mentioned, a player who really took off last year in his sophomore season and is maybe not batting quite as well in his junior year, but still a respectable 262 batting average, a 477 slug, a 344 on base. As he's made it 1-2 against Verespi. The next offering is popped up into center field. Thames gets under it and makes the grab for out number 2. And now it'll be Michael Kasich, the first baseman for CUC, another junior coming off a very, very good sophomore season. As so far this year, Kasich having a bit of a down season, 218 average, 28 games played, 28 starts, as he will hit this one into the gap. Makes me eat my words as he now reaches first safely. So first hit of the day for CUC, and like the Bearcats last inning, comes with 2 outs on the board. Now it'll bring up Caleb Anderson, designated hitter for the CUC Cougars.
The designated hitter, number 25, Caleb Anderson.
340 batting average on the year for Anderson. 21 games played, 13 of which have been starts for him. As the first pitch is in there for a strike. Anderson, a senior out of Plainfield, Illinois. Another Cougar who will be having their senior day in less than a week here. As he takes that curve for a strike, makes it 0-2 now.
And he's one of 2 Cougars with 50-plus at-bats without a home run yet. So him and Boswell, who bats in the 9-hole right behind him.
See if he can maybe change that here with 2 outs. Runner on first. He fouls off a pitch to stay alive. 0-2 count on Anderson. Verespi gets set and delivers away. Tries to get him to chase. No good. 1-2 count now. Speaking of Boswell, he is the man on deck. Of course, Cougars have to reach base safely here to get to him with 2 outs. As the 1-2 is a hopper. The third baseman, Hoffman, comes in, makes the grab, throws to first, and it is in time. It dragged Piazza off the bag, but I think he was able to tiptoe it. So it'll be out number 3. And despite the first hit of the day for CUC, still a relatively quick inning from Verespi and the Bearcats defense. So we'll head to the top of the third. CUC Willamette, no score yet. You're watching the Cougar Sports Network.
Thanks for tuning in to today's broadcast. For all things Cougar Baseball, head to Twitter or Instagram, type in CUC Baseball, and you'll find our page.
Or visit cucougars.com. Thanks again. Go Cougs!
top of the third, and that means another CUC pitcher. This one will be number 38, Brady McCleary, as his first offering of the day is in the dirt for ball number 1. McCleary relieving Aiden Tehan, who over his 1 inning of work allowed 2 hits, 1 strike out, and 21 total pitches. As McCleary now has a 1-1 count on the top of the lineup for Willamette. That is Tasso Foster, who reached on an error way back in the first at-bat of the day.
And he hit a hard one-hopper out towards Boswell at shortstop. Kind of drifted out into center field.
Yeah, kind of hopped up into Boswell's chest, took a bounce off of him. Meanwhile, for McCleary, this will be appearance number 7 on the year, 9.75 ERA coming into today across 12 innings of work. Has made 3 starts on the season. So one of those pitchers who can be a relief guy, can be a starter for Coach Connor and Coach Smith and the Cougars, as his 3-1 pitch just misses. So that'll be ball 4. And once again, Foster doing a good job in the leadoff spot. Gets on base for the heavy hitter for Willamette, Jeff Hoffman, who flew out to right field in his first at-bat.
That was walk number 18 here in the year for McCleary. He's got 6 strikeouts. So, again, one of these pitchers who struggled to find the zone early in this season.
Doesn't find it on that pitch. Misses for ball 1 to Hoffman. And Hoffman, despite all the power he brings, is great at just getting on base. A .532 on base percentage, second best in the Northwest Conference. As that pickoff attempt was close. Good tag there by Kasich, but Foster able to scamper back to the bag just in time.
McCleary does lead this Cougar team in pickoffs. He has 3 so far this year, including his last outing against Aurora.
So 1-0 count now on Hoffman. McCleary set and delivers that one. And able to hit the edge of the zone. Makes it strike 1, 1-1 count. Has the 1-1. And that's a hard hit ball. Boswell scoops it up, throws it to second, and for 1, and the bounce to first in time. Double play. So Boswell redeems himself from an error earlier, helps turn 2, and with 2 outs, it'll bring Rocco Granucci. But Troy, that's just, good defense from CUC, especially that throw to first. It took a short hop on Kasich, popped up high, but he's able to still glove it down for the second out.
Yeah, really good focus there by the first baseman, Michael Kasich. And it's definitely something, practice. You practice short hops, where your glove faces down, and then you practice those the higher bounces there where you kind of treat it like it's a line drive or a normal throw at you.
That'll be a double play number 16 on the year for CUC, tied for 7th in the conference rankings coming into today in the double play category. As it's now 1-1 on Rocco Granucci. Hit a line drive into center field that Eli Hickman made a really nice play on back in the first. As Granucci fouls this one off for strike number 2. Cleary checks the signs from Mahler. He gets set now and delivers. The 1-2 misses low, makes it 2-2. The 2-2, and he swings on it, strike 3. Granucci tried to check it, but home plate umpire Jim Nalon says he went, and that'll be strike 3 and the third out of the inning for the Cougars. So, still no runs up on the board as we get set for the bottom of the third. Cougars, they'll lead the way with the Sean Boswell, Xavier Zagerman, and Eli Hickman. We'll have that for you in just a second here on the Cougar Sports Network. Sean Boswell will lead us off here in the bottom of the third. Cougars and Bearcats, no score yet here at the Thunderdome. Boswell, first year in the maroon and gold, a junior transfer so far on the season. The Cougars' primary shortstop is hitting .282, 27 games played, all of which have been starts for Boswell. As he takes ball one from Verespi, and now a hard hit ball down the third base line. It's drifting into left field. Boswell's going to turn the corner at first, and it's going to be a tight play at second, and Boswell just gets in under the tag.
And he knew it right away. He was going 2 out of the box. I'm not even sure he listened to the first base coach or took his eyes off second base that whole time, but a pretty good throw out there from Lawson in left field. It was on the bag just a little bit high, and Foster was unable to apply the tag there.
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, it looked like it was going to be a for sure double, especially for a speedy guy like Boswell. But like you said, Troy, Lawson made a close play. That throw was a little bit lower. Foster might have been able to apply the tag. Instead, Boswell stands on second, and it'll be the 9-hitter Xavier Zagerman at the plate for CUC. He's appeared in 13 games this year, batting .077 as he shows bunt, pulls back for ball number 1.
And I was going to suggest there if, Zagerman only comes in, he's hitting below 100, and so moving the runner to third base here for the top of the order with only 1 out would be ideal for the Cougars. But
as he takes ball 2. So this is really the first time we've seen Verespi in trouble. Kasich had a single last inning but didn't go anywhere past first. So now Verespi has to work with a man in scoring position for the first time today, as Zagerman, a slow swing. Looks like he was hesitant on it. Makes it 2-1. It's going to be a strike either way, whether he swing on it or not. As the 2-1 curves in there. Great pitch from Verespi. That's that little speed change up we've been seeing all day from number 31 on the mound. Ties up Zagerman, and now it is 2-2. Working back from a 2-0 count, Verespi is.
Now you just got to put the ball in play on the right side of the infield here.
And as he fouls this one off, so we'll get another shot at it.
He's able to get a ground ball, push it on the right side. You are able to advance Boswell a third. If you keep it on the left side of the infield, Boswell's going to have to retreat back to second. So at this point, the only way to move him is a base hit or a ground ball to right field.
Well, there's a hopper to the third baseman and a throw to first in time. So exactly what Troy just said to avoid. Zagerman grounds out to the third baseman. And with 1 out, a man still on second. It'll be Eli Hickman up to bat. Hickman struck out swinging to lead off the day for CUC's offense. See what he can do here now with Boswell in scoring position.
The ground out to third is far better than a strikeout, right? I mean, putting the ball in play is better than not.
Yep. At least makes them have to make a play on it. Maybe there's an error or something that could advance the runner. In that case, nothing, but at least makes the defense work for an out. 0-1 count now on Hickman. Verespi gets the sign from his catcher Davis and delivers the 0-1. That one outside for ball 1.
And I wonder if we'll see the curveball as he's gone the first 2 pitches here against Hickman more often now that he's worked back towards the top of the order. He retired the first 5 batters throwing that breaking ball pretty often.
And a big swing from Hickman on that pitch, not able to make contact with it, so 1-2. Hickman trying to make some noise here for the Cougars in the bottom of the third, still looking for our first run of the day. As now Verespi is a 1-2 count on the senior for CUC. Here's the pitch, and that's fouled. Back to the football field behind the Thunderdome.
Yeah, and you can see here, Hickman's now choked up on the bat. Just trying to put the ball in play here, and the same thing applies. Ball on the ground on the right side of the infield would move the runner to third base for Dorsch, who stands on deck.
1-2. That's also fouled back towards the football stadium. So Hickman doing a good job of just staying alive here. He's batting nearly 400 coming in today. So this is a man who knows how to put the bat on the ball. As the 1-2. And that ball is hit to the second baseman. He'll throw over to first in time for the out, but it does advance Boswell to third. So a productive out from Hickman. And with 2 outs, it'll be up to Tyler Dorsch to try and plate Boswell. Anything fair and safe in play should be able to score Boswell.
Tyler Dorsch.
As Dorsch is coming off a swinging strikeout in the first inning. All 3 CUC batters in the first inning struck out swinging. As the first pitch to Dorsch, high and inside for ball number 1.
So back-to-back first pitches, breaking balls from Varespi.
The 1-0 away makes it 2-0 now. Varespi hasn't fallen behind in the count a ton, but whenever he does, it doesn't really seem to faze him, as he's only allowed 2 hits. There is 2 2/3 of work today. Next offering in there for a strike. There's that slow curve.
Just so confident with it either way. I mean, we've seen it, not scared to throw it on the first pitch, not scared to throw it in the full count, not scared to throw it when you're down 2-0 at the risk of going 3-0.
And Dorsch hammers that one into left field, but getting under it for the grab is Lawson. A well-hit ball just in the area of Lawson. Makes the grab, so the Cougars, they strand a man at third. And that'll do it for the third inning. We are going to go to the fourth. Cougars and Bearcats still tied 0-0. You're watching the Cougar Sports Network. Peter Borkowski here with you on the Cougar Sports Network, joined by Troy Prattley, and the Bearcats back up to bat. We are officially over a third of the way through this game. 3 innings up, 3 innings down. No score between your Cougars and the Bearcats, as number 9, Carl Lawson, made the final out of the bottom of the third, trying to get his team started off on the right foot here as he takes strike 1. And Troy, interesting pitching-wise for CUC. First time we have seen a pitcher return after an inning of work for CUC, as this ball finds its way in between first and second. Zagerman made pursuit, couldn't get there in time, and so that'll be a leadoff single for Carl Lawson.
First baseman number 36,
So
Piazza.
Luke Piazza, the first baseman, struck out swinging in the second against Aiden Tehan. Now we'll face McCleary for the first time. And Troy, I'm interested to see with the bullpen day. This is the first time we've seen someone come back out for CUC. How much of a leash McCleary has here. CUC's been warming up pitchers one after another in the bullpen, so interested to see if a middle inning switch could be in the cards here if things don't go so well, or if they're going to stick with McCleary as long as they can. As this ball is popped up, going right outside the infield to make the grab is Boswell for out number 1.
I think the key is just that, McCleary hasn't seen this set of hitters for the Bearcats, and so you'd like to only allow the Bearcat hitters to see each pitcher one time. That's kind of the key. So if he can get, the first batter he faced was it was Davis, so the 9-hitter. So if he can get, 2 outs in the next 3 batters, he's done his job, and then he'll likely be pulled after that.
Ball 1 issued to Charlie Furbit, who flew out to center in the second inning as this ball hard hit to Zagerman. Zagerman to second for 1, over to first in time, double play. McCleary 2 innings pitched. He's forced 2 double plays, and so he does his job here. A quick top of the 4th, and we're going to head to the bottom half of the inning now. Cougars and Bearcats still scoreless. You're watching the Cougar Sports Network. Julio Cajigas will get us started here. Bottom of the 4th inning. Cougars, Bearcats. No score just yet in this non-conference game on a beautiful Sunday afternoon as we just hit noon. And we are already cruising through this game. A big reason for that is the man on the mound for the Bearcats, Stephen Verespi, as his first pitch to Cajigas is drilled into right field. Getting under it is Furbit for the grab and a quick out number 1. But, Troy, I think if there's one word to say for Verespi, it's been efficient. We haven't seen a ton of long at-bats out of him, whether it's a strikeout, a fly-out, a line-out, whatever it is. He's usually taking care of these batters in just a handful of pitches.
Yeah, he's done a really good job so far. 48 pitches thrown so far, as that pitch is 49. He's got 3 strikeouts, no runs and no walks so far as well. And the only extra base hit there was just that, ground ball down the line that ended up kind of far away from the left fielder, I guess. But it's been kind of a slow afternoon for both offenses. And Willamette came into this game, as I was mentioning earlier, 12.44 runs scored in their last 9 games, and for the Cougars, 8.11 in their last 9 games. So both teams are, not shy and putting up runs on the scoreboard, just been unable to do it so far here this afternoon.
Here's a hopper grabbed by O'Connor, throws over to Piazza for the second out. So a 6-3 ground out for Brandon Mahler, and with 2 outs, it'll be Tyler Crater. He flew out to center his first at-bat and the second. But, yeah, CUC's offense, like last year, has been at the top of the conference. They are second in total runs scored, 216, only trailing the nationally ranked Aurora Spartans. as Crater pops this one up, but it's going to go foul, so no one will have a play on it.
And to the Cougars' credit, we saw them get struck out the side in the first inning, 1, 2, 3 strikeouts. Those are the only 3 strikeouts so far this afternoon. So after that first inning, the offense has done a good job of putting the ball in play at least.
Well, Crater puts that one in play, but it's an easy fly out for Thames out in center. So 1-2-3 inning for CUC in the bottom of the 4th. Gillespie continues to look dominant for Willamette, and we're going to take it to the top of the 5th now. CUC Bearcats, no score just yet. You're watching the Cougar Sports Network. The number 7 batter, Wyatt Thames, will lead us off here in the top of the 5th. See if the Bearcats can make some offense happen, and it will be McCleary out again for CUC. And Troy, the good thing about him is he's looked extremely efficient through these first couple of innings of work as he issues a strike there to Wyatt Thames, but a big reason for that is also his ability to induce groundouts and double plays. The Cougars have turned two double plays in the 2 innings of work we've seen from McCleary.
Yeah, it's interesting. The thing I was talking about when he came in a few innings ago was his walk to strikeout ratio, and he's thrown 21 pitches so far today, and 11 of them have been balls. There's 22, so now we're 11 strikes and 11 balls. So 50% is not typical, and it's not usually ideal, but like you're saying, those 2 double plays, able to kind of make up for the lack of strike throwing when you can get 2 outs for 1 strike thrown.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other thing about McCleary is this is really still his first time through the lineup, as that pitch is high for ball 3. So I think once we see him kind of hit batters again for the second time, that's when we'll see Coach Matt Smith, pitching coach for the CUC, be a little bit more willing to switch it up, but he still looks good. A swinging strikeout of Wyatt Thames for out number 1, and that'll bring up Liam O'Connor, the shortstop. Got a single in the second inning. That was that weird infield dribbler that he was able to dodge under the Kasich tag, as he takes a big hack at that one for strike number 1.
And O'Connor and Davis, these 8-9 hitters, the 2 freshmen in the lineup here for Willamette. The lineup consists of 4 seniors, 3 juniors, and 2 freshmen.
And the 0-2 fouled off. Just staying alive is O'Connor. Caden Davis on deck for Willamette. He's guaranteed an at-bat in this inning, and after that we'll have to see what happens, as McCleary has an 0-2 count on Wyatt Thames. The pitch up high, about head level with O'Connor, so makes it 1-2.
So high fastball. See if we see the breaking ball here.
The 1-2 from McCleary. That one about the same place for ball 2. So intentional or not, McCleary hits his spot twice in a row for 2 balls. So we're evened up 2-2. The next offering is swung on and missed. Strike 3. Back-to-back swinging strikeouts for McCleary. And with 2 outs, it'll be up to Caden Davis to try and extend the inning.
The catcher, number 14, Caden Davis.
Strikeouts number 2 and 3 on the day for McCleary. As his next offering is low and away, makes it ball 1. Ball misses in the same spot, 2-0 the count. Also Foster on deck for the Bearcats. He's the first batter faced by McCleary, as he's now issued 3 straight balls to Caden Davis. So it'll be, if Foster comes up to bat, it'll be the first time McCleary faces somebody twice, as he will come up to bat. 4-pitch walk from McCleary. Caden Davis reaches first. And now it'll be Tasso Foster. He's reached first twice today in his 2 at-bats. Reached on an error in the first and then was walked in the third. So now he'll have to reach safely to keep the lineup moving for Willamette. That pitch in there for strike number 1. First strike thrown by McCleary since he was able to get O'Connor swinging 2 batters ago. As the 0-1, it's a short hopper. Here comes Boswell. The throw over to first just in time. So an efficient 3 innings for Brady McCleary. And we are going to head to the bottom half of the 5th. CUC and the Bearcats still looking for our first run of the day. We'll see who can do it when we get back here on the Cougar Sports Network in just a minute.
Our name's Richard. Hey, Cougar fans. Thank you for tuning in to today's game. For more information on the baseball program, head to CUCougars.com. We hope to see you in our next game. Roll, Cougs!
I mean, he has started, though, so.
First baseman, number 10, Michael Kessick.
Michael Kessick will come up to bat for CUC, get us underway here in the bottom of the 5th, as it is still Stephen Varespi on the mound for the Bearcats. Nobody warming up in the bullpen for the Bearcats, so that shows you how much confidence Mike Caduto, head coach of the Bearcats, has in his starter. Caduto in his first year as head man of the Bearcats, and it's been a pretty successful year so far for the Bearcats. As we mentioned earlier, 21-7 on the season, receiving votes nationally for the top 25. As the 1-1 misses high and away, makes it 2-1.
And there's a couple other NAC conference games going on today. Carroll is facing off against Wisconsin Lutheran, just a single header, and Edgewood traveled to Marion today for a 1 o'clock and 3:30 doubleheader as well. So a fairly quiet day in the NAC after yesterday was an exciting day to say the least.
And there's a looking strikeout of Kasich as he has some words with the umpire, I think, questioning where that last ball landed. Either way, he'll be walking back to the dugout, and it'll be up to Caleb Anderson to get on base. But, yeah, as you mentioned, Troy, I mean, the NAC has been very competitive this year. You have two teams who have been top 15 in the country in Aurora University and Benedictine University. And Benedictine, they're currently sitting at 6 in the conference at that. So, I mean, it just shows you how good the conference has been this season. As the 1-0 misses, makes it 2-0 on Anderson. For SB, it's the pitch from his catcher Davis, and issues strike number 1 to Anderson. Anderson grounded out to third in his first at-bat of the day.
And for the postseason tournaments, the top 8 teams that make that tournament. So right now, CUC is on the outside looking in.
Yeah, CUC sitting at 11th. And currently sitting at 8th is Rockford with a 6-6 conference record. CUC 4-10 conference record. As the 2-2 misses outside and makes it 3-2. So the Cougars definitely have some work to do. And I will say this upcoming series against Rockford, April 17th on Wednesday, a doubleheader. Rockford will be the host team as Caleb Anderson draws himself a full count walk. So Anderson, the first base runner of the inning for CUC. This Wednesday, CUC taking on Rockford at what was supposed to be at Rockford. Instead, they'll play at Beloit's Field in Beloit, Wisconsin. Beloit, a non-conference, a non-NAC team, except for lacrosse. They are in the conference for lacrosse. But Rockford having some issues with their field, so Rockford will be the home team despite playing in Beloit against CUC as Boswell shows bunt, and the ball gets away from Davis, but Anderson, I don't think, was really expecting it, so he just stays at first. Might have been a chance to do something, but he's going to play it safe.
We've only seen one base runner in scoring position for the Cougars, and that was Boswell a couple innings ago.
Boswell led off the third with a double as Resby checks Anderson at first. And then Boswell advanced to third on a ground out from Hickman. And Dorsch had a chance to score him, but lined out to end the inning. As the 1-0 misses, high and away, makes it 2-0. That Rockford game going to be really big for CUC as Rockford's sitting in that 8th spot, that last playoff spot for the conference. CUC will then take on Wisconsin Lutheran on Saturday for Senior Day here at the Thunderdome as Boswell hits this one into center field, touches down. So base knock for Yashawn Boswell. He's 2 for 2 on the day now. Pushes Anderson to second. And with 2 runners on, just 1 out, it'll be the 9-hole hitter Xavier Zagerman, the second baseman, who grounded out to third in his first at-bat.
So 2 of the 3 hits so far here this afternoon credited to Boswell. We'll see if Zagerman will square. He squared the first pitch of his first at-bat when Boswell had that leadoff double, but ended up grounding out to third base after not squaring again after that first pitch, and he pulled back. So we'll see here, put 2 runners in scoring position with 2 outs. So the Cougars are just going to have to decide, there's yet to be a run on the board. So here in the bottom half of the 5th inning, is it worth giving up that out to potentially move 2 runners over, knowing that, Eli Hickman's 0 for 2 so far today?
I was going to say, that is the question. Do you advance 2 runners into scoring position? But, of course, at that point you have 2 outs. Any bad at bat will end the inning, or do you let Zagerman try to do something? And if he doesn't, if he leaves the base runners where they are, at least you still have a runner in second for your leadoff man.
And it's only Zagerman's 15th at bat on the year.
As he will take ball one high and in. So he saw a mound visit between Verespi and some of the coaching staff as well as the infielders. Now we see an arm walking out to the bullpen. That is number 32, Samuel Daly, who is listed on the roster as an outfielder, but obviously one of those players who can do a little bit of both. You see that a lot at the collegiate level. Meanwhile, at the plate, Zagerman's worked a 2-0 count against Verespi. As Verespi deals, and Zagerman lets it go by for strike one.
Yeah, in that situation, you know, with 2 on and a 2-0 count, you're really only looking for a pitch that you can drill, and that one was a little bit high and inside, probably still a strike, but a good take there by Zagerman in a 2-0 count.
2-1, and he lets go by 3-1. Good eye there from Zagerman. That was a close pitch.
So now it's the same thing, right? I mean, a 3-1 count, you got a chance to load the bases to give it to the top of the order with only 1 out, so you got to be real selective here with Zagerman. It's got to be your pitch or nothing at all.
The next offering clips the zone for strike 2. Zagerman took a step towards first, and the umpire called him back. It's a close pitch there, back-to-back. One went for a ball, the other, that one hits the strike zone. So 3-2 count on Zagerman now as Verespi deals, and Zagerman fouls it off towards the Bearcats dugout.
So now you can't be certainly as selective with a full count, though.
3-2. Verespi deals. Misses, ball 4. Just low, and that'll load the bag. Second walk of the inning for Verespi. And now with just 1 out, bags loaded. It'll be Eli Hickman at the plate. Big chance here for number 19 in maroon to blow this game open. Not even blow this game open, just score the first run of the day. As that ball curves its way in there for a strike. So even with the bags loaded, the leadoff man up, we see Verespi still leaning on that off-speed pitch.
Something about the top of the order, and he's had their numbers still all. First 5 batters for the Cougars hitless so far, 0 for 10 collectively, as there's a line drive over the first baseman's head.
That'll be the first hit of the day for the top 5, and it'll be the first run of the day for either squad. RBI single, Eli Hickman. And the Cougars are in business. First run of the day makes it 1-0 in favor of the team in maroon. And now with the bag still loaded, just 1 out, it's Tyler Dorsch trying to make some more noise here. RBI single, Eli Hickman, Caleb Anderson scoring the run. Boswell still at third, Zagerman at second, and Hickman at first. As Dorsch hammers this one into left, and it's going to touch down. That'll be another base hit. Coming home to score is Boswell. Back-to-back RBI singles for the Cougs. Eli Hickman, Tyler Dorsch, and it is now 2-0. And bases still loaded for the 3-hitter, Julio Cajigas.
And they say hits are contagious. Just you kind of see this momentum shift for the Cougars. The dugout's alive. Now you see guys jumping on pitches that they were taking earlier in the game, and they've got an opportunity here to continue the damage as there's still action in the bullpen.
And Cajigas goes first pitch swinging, and that one no good. So 0-1 count on Cajigas. 0-2, a swinging strikeout in the first and a fly out to right last inning. As the 0-1, he's going to let go by for a strike, 0-2. So at this point, Verespi just trying to keep the damage down, likely his last inning of work. Now it's just a matter of will he finish the inning or not. Depends on how much more damage this Cougars roster can do, as the 0-2 from Verespi is popped up, going foul. Kahiga still fighting here. Brandon Mahler on deck for CUC. And 0-2 to Kahiga. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Verespi gets Kahigas to chase after that outside pitch. And now it'll be out to Brandon Mahler. Back still loaded, just 2 outs on the 2 outs on the board. So Mahler has to reach safely here if he wants to play another CUC run or two. Mahler 0 for 2 with a ground out to third and a ground out to short, as the first pitch is lifted into left field. Going back is Lawson. Is he going to get there? He does. Lawson had to go a long way for that one, but is able to track it down on the warning track. So Brandon Mahler flies out. The Cougars leave the bases loaded, but they're able to get 2 across the board. And with a 2-0 lead for CUC, we're going to head to the 6th inning. Bearcats, they got some work to do now as they trail for the first time today. See what happens when we come back here on the Cougars Sports Network. Well, new pitcher on the mound for CUC, and that means it's the end of the day for Brady McCleary, who did great work for CUC. 3 innings pitched, 1 hit, no runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and threw 38 total pitches. So now it'll be number 44, Kyle Stahn, for CUC. And on the year, Stahn rocking a 0 ERA and just 2 appearances, 2 innings of work, as that slow pitch is high and inside for ball number 1. But, Troy, I mean, I don't think we can overstate just how important McCleary's effort was for CUC, as that ball is fouled back by Hoffman. You know, we knew it was going to be a bullpen day at that. You kind of expected 9 pitchers, 1 an inning. But for McCleary to come in and go 3 innings, 3 clean, effective innings, that's a big boost for this Cougars pitching staff.
It really was an impressive day from McCleary, and we saw the 2 double plays to get out of those his first 2 innings, and it was effective, and the ball strike ratio was there's strike 3 there looking. Jeff Hoffman, who again came into today leading the Northwest Conference in batting average. He's 0 for 3 now, a fly-out double play, and that looking strikeout, as it'll bring Rocco Granucci. Like I was saying, the McCleary's ball strike ratio, it's like it is what it is. I mean, that's the kind of pitcher he's been all year, and today it was effective for him. So it's just one of those things you take and you live with, and he uses it to his advantage. And he had a good outing today.
Well, Troy, now we're going to have you put on your other jobs hat as a CUC tour guide and give us a little information, not about the Cougars and CUC, but about our friends from Salem, Oregon, Willamette University, traveling a long way over here to the Midwest. So, I mean, Willamette, another Division III school, pretty small on the whole, but what other fun tidbits you have about our Bearcat visitors from the Northwest?
Yeah, so for all those unfamiliar with Willamette University, it's a private liberal arts college, just as CUC is, but unlike CUC, not located in Chicago, rather in Salem, Oregon, founded in 1842. It's the oldest college, Peter, in the western United States. Fun fact, originally named the Oregon Institute. The school is unaffiliated outgrowth of the Methodist mission, and I've got some quick facts here for you as well.
As this one is pop foul, so some time for those quick facts.
1,977 undergraduate enrollees. The campus is 69 total acres. For reference, our CUC campus is 40 total acres. Over 38,000 alumni, but this was interesting. 71% of those alumni live in either Oregon, Washington, or California. So they're going to school out west, and they're staying out west.
West Coast, yep.
So there's your brief rundown on Willamette University. They traveled here to Chicago, took on North Central Friday and Saturday, and then here in River Forest to take on Concordia today. And this is their only real trip of the season. They play all of their games in either Washington or Oregon outside of this kind of 4-game long weekend here, Peter.
So Willamette getting a chance to come out to the Midwest, whatever you want to consider the Midwest, as we discussed earlier, and take on a couple Chicagoland teams. They are 2-1 on the trip so far, taking 2 of the 3 against North Central, and now they're in a hole against CUC, but they got some business here with Granucci on first after the walk. One strike issued on Carl Lawson now after he fouled that off. Lawson a fly out and a single so far today, as he's going to take another strike there, makes it 0-2. Kyle Ston, and hasn't seen a ton of action this year, but trying to keep that perfect ERA intact. As the 0-2 is batted, here's Crater at third. The throw over to second, no good. It's going to drift into right field. So going from second to third is Granucci, and getting into first safely is Lawson. See how he scored this one. Crater slipped. His feet gave out from under him. Almost went into the splits when he was throwing to second. And I believe that was the errant throw that got past Boswell. I don't think that was Boswell missing it. So
Yeah.
See what they scored officially.
The slip definitely threw off the throw from Crater, and it didn't even look like, typically when a ground ball goes to third base, it's the second baseman that covers to turn the double play. So in that case, it would have been Zagerman. It looked like both Boswell and Zagerman were both heading towards second, but the throw was past both of them. So I'm not exactly sure what the communication there was from Boswell and Zagerman, but regardless, it ended up being Dorsch fielding it out in right field. So now runners at the corners here.
So the official scoring is Lawson, who just dives back in to avoid the pickoff. He reached on a fielder's choice. Meanwhile, Granucci is going to advance to second on an error by Crater. So Crater tagged with an error there. As the back pick attempt is no good. It is 1-1 on Piazza, who is 0 for 2, a strikeout swinging in the second and then a fly out in the fourth. As this is arguably the best scoring chance the Bearcats have had all day. Runners in the corners, just 1 out, as Ston very concerned with Lawson over at first.
You can hear it peppering in from the bleachers here. Ground ball, and that would get him out of the inning. As there is a ground ball, but Boswell shifted over right behind second base, so the ground ball that would have ended the inning is instead a base hit, an RBI single.
And an RBI single for Piazza. Granucci heading home to score the run. And I believe we'll have a pinch runner now. So Piazza will leave first, as now we have a quick meeting between the batter, which is Charlie Furbit, the man at second, which is Lawson, and then the pinch runner for Willamette, which is number 1. One of the best names on this roster, if I do add, Nate Hamburger, outfielder, sophomore from Simi Valley, California.
It sounds like a name that could be featured on the no context baseball or the random D3 athlete Twitter pages or X pages.
Say, it's a good one, that's for sure. Kind of reminiscent of Jake Berger, former White Sox player, now with the Miami Marlins. So Nate Hamburger at first. And at second, it is Lawson. Charlie Furbit, as a pickoff attempt for Hamburger is no good. As for the official scoring, so Piazza singles through the left side for the RBI. Lawson to second. Granucci scored. It is an unearned run, so no damage done to Stan's ERA, though I'm sure that's not what he's concerned about. Right now he's just trying to get out of this inning. Cougars still in the lead. As Furbit, a 1-0 count.
So far, the Bearcats are 2 for 3 today with runners in scoring position, as they have right now with Lawson on second base.
Two 2-0 count for Furbit, who flew out and then grounded into a double play. Cougars could really use another double play ball, as the pickoff attempt is no good. Kind of caught Hamburger sleeping there, but the throw was a bit too high to make anything happen. 2-0. And here's a pickoff attempt, and nice save there by Zagerman. The back pick to second base, which you don't see a ton of. It got past Boswell, but Zagerman coming over from second to keep it from going into center field. So nice save there by the freshman second baseman.
It's interesting, we saw it a lot from McCleary. We're seeing it here from Stan, and then of course from Mahler. They're checking these runners a lot, and they do it more often than I think most teams at this level do. Very concerned about the runners on base, but it's definitely something that they practice. And Coach Connor gives them the ability to do that, and they have the freedom to make those plays, and he trusts them with those throws. So just something interesting to keep an eye on. We've seen a couple of them be a little bit errant, but nothing that's hurt them too bad so far.
Well, now the bases are loaded with one out. The mound visit between the CUC infield, Kyle Stan, and then the pitching coach, Matt Smith. And the thing about pickoff attempts, Troy, is that at some point you just need to, you kind of need to forget about it. I mean, you have now bases loaded. Before you had a runner on second. You need to be a bit more locked in on just getting the out, just getting an out or two, rather than worrying about a man at first or at second in that case. And now that's really going to be the issue for CUC, as the bags are loaded with just one out. This was the scenario CUC was in last half inning. They got 2 runs out of it. See what Willamette can do here, as it'll be Wyatt Thames, the center fielder. He's 1 for 2, a single and a strikeout, as he pops up the first pitch. And Dorsch is going to have to really track this one down. Dorsch doesn't grab it. It drops foul. So no harm, no foul. But would have been nice to snag an out there. Dorsch had to get on his horse and really track it down.
Maybe that's a tough one, because if Dorsch snags that,
that is true.
You're basically letting that run in from third.
I know where you're going with it, yeah.
So, then you're saying, all right, tie game, 2 outs. The runners, probably move from second to third, or probably stays at first. But so now you hope that the outcome here is better than you could have gotten that out foul.
Yeah, I mean, the goal with, bags loaded, or at least runners at third, and 1 out is you can't give anything up past the infield, as Thames looks at strike 2 there. So a strikeout is ideal, of course. A double play is even better, or even just a shallow pop fly, something to keep the runners where they're at or get one of the runners out. 2 of the runners out, I should say, as the 1-2 is high, almost clips Thames. He's able to spin out of the way of it. That would have scored a run. Instead, it remains 2-2. As the next offering is lifted into center. This one going back. Cajigas makes the grab, but it'll score 1 run, and we will have a tied ball game. Good relay throw by Cajigas to keep the runners at first and second, but the sac fly from Thames, and we got a brand new ball game here in the bottom of the 6th. 2-2 is in the top of the 6th, 2-2 is the score.
It's interesting how that works, right? We were quiet the whole day through 5.5, and then Cougars put up 2, so then naturally the Bearcats have to come back and put up 2 of their own, but still the Cougars not out of this one. They've got a runner, or excuse me, the Bearcats have a runner in scoring position, 2 on with 2 outs here.
So 0-1 on Liam O'Connor now. O'Connor a single and a strikeout, much like Thames. So that single was a weird infield dribbler as he takes the ball there and makes it 1-1. It is an unearned run scored, so 2 runs, both of which have been unearned for the Bearcats due to the throwing error from Crater. And did that one clip him? It did. It got his jersey. Tried to spin out of the way of it, but the jersey, and I think they're saying the arm. Either way, it got a piece of him. So the bags once again loaded, and now we will have ourselves a pinch hitter, number 18, at Leighton Wagner. He'll be pinch hitting for Caden Davis, the catcher.
Your attention, please. Batting for the catcher, Davis.
So Wagner gets the call up with the bags loaded as he takes a strike there. Leighton Wagner, a graduate student out of Boise, Idaho. Another player kind of like Furbit, who long way from home in Oregon, one of the few, as this ball and the back pick attempt. Is it in time? It is! So it works out for CUC. Brandon Mahler's fired up as the Cougars steal us out there. And that'll be the 3rd out. But despite that, the Bearcats, they still scored 2, and we got a brand new ball game as we head to the bottom of the 6th now. Cougars 2, Bearcats 2. We'll be back in just a second. You're watching the Cougars Sports Network. Some defensive changes here for the Bearcats out in right field. Our favorite name, Nate Hamburger, now positioned. The former right fielder, Furbit, has moved the first. Behind the plate is number 38, Carter Stoles, and a new pitcher on the mound for the Bearcats, and it is number 32, the man we saw warming up, Samuel Daly, grad student out of El Dorado Hills, California. And at the plate for CUC, as on schedule, is Tyler Crater, who now has a 1-1 count.
And it was a good day for the Bearcat starting pitcher. Varespi went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, both of those in the bottom half of that 5th inning. 82 total pitches, 56 of them 4 strikes, only gave up the 1 extra base hit to Boswell and faced 22 total batters, giving way now to Daly here in the bottom half of the 6th inning, tied 2-2.
And as for Daly on the year, 7 appearances, 1 win, a 9 ERA, and 9 innings. So he's given up exactly a run an inning as this pop fly is tracked down and grabbed by the second baseman, Foster. So with 1 out, it'll be Mikey Kasich, who so far today a single and then a looking strikeout. Caleb Anderson on deck, guaranteed an at-bat. As Daly trying to keep this game where it is, tied 2-2. That one almost clips Kasich. This inning and then last half inning, we've seen a lot of close calls. And as we saw one Bearcat, that was Liam O'Connor, actually take one, clipped him.
Yeah, high and inside's tough. It's scary. Typically, in the MLB, they wear those face shields down on the front side to protect the jaw and the chin. You don't really see that too much at this level.
Unless I'm mistaken, I think I've seen Dorsch wear one, at least a version of it, at points throughout the season. As this ball gets away from Stoll, so 3-0 count. But yeah, other than Dorsch, you don't see a ton of college players wearing it, which you think would make sense. College, usually more protective of their athletes than the professionals, and across all sports. As the 3-0 from Daly is high for ball 4, so 4-pitch walk for Kasich, his second trip to the base pass this day, and now it'll bring up Anderson. Anderson, a ground out, and then a walk. That walk last inning eventually turned into the first run of the day, thanks to an RBI single from Eli Hickman. This pitch inside and low, so that'll be ball 1 to Anderson. Daly so far on the year, 9 walks, 14 strikeouts, now 10 walks after that last one. As that'll be strike 1 issued to Anderson. No swing on it. And that ball lined down the right field line, right past the Cougar dugout as it now drifts into right field. Some of the Cougar relief pitchers go and scoop it up. So 1-2 count on Anderson.
Have we seen the Bearcats turn a double play yet today?
We have not. As that ball misses 2-2. And on the season, this is a team who they've turned 20 double plays. That is 4th best in the Northwest Conference. So they do turn a fair amount. And that ball also misses 3-2 the count now, as Daly having a little bit of trouble finding the strike zone. A 4-pitch walk to Kasich, and now a full count against Anderson. Still has a chance to get out of it with a strikeout. As Daly's set. Long look at the plate. Now he delivers way outside and high for ball 4. So back-to-back walks from Daly. And with 2 runners on, it'll be Sean Boswell, who probably been the best CUC batter up until this point. A single and a double in his 2 at-bats. Also scored a run off a Tyler Dorsch RBI single. And with a runner at second, a hit here, it could go a long way.
Yeah, Boswell looking to move his season average up towards 300. He came in sitting at 282, and he's had a 2-for-2 day like you just mentioned. As that one gets through.
Gets past Stoll, so both runners advance. Kasich over to third, and then Anderson over to second. So it'll be a passed ball on Stolz, and maybe we're seeing the fact that he's just checking into this game kind of hit, as may not be as warmed up as you'd like to be. So pass ball, 2 runners in scoring position now for Boswell. 1-0 count to Boswell. This one finds its way home for a strike. As Daly's now got to work himself out. A jam also takes the double play, at least the routine double play, out of question. Obviously, something funky can always happen with runners on.
Yeah, the infield's now in, so they're going to be firing 4 on any ground ball in the infield. So now for Boswell, it's putting it.
That takes a bounce off the mound. So that's one way to beat infield, as Anderson hustling home, and he's going to get there in time. 2 RBI single from Yashawn Boswell, assisted by the pitcher's mound. And that's what you call home field advantage for CUC. They score 2. They retake the lead 4-2.
Well, I suppose I didn't see that coming in my analysis of what the at-bat was going to look like. He's typically a ground ball in the infield. They're going to go home, and they need to put one in the outfield. Well, in that case, he did both, right?
So that is one way to beat an infield playing in, is just hop it off the mound. So a lucky bounce, or a bad bounce if you're a Bearcat, gives the Cougars the lead right back, doubling up Willamette 4-2. As Yashawn Boswell gets hit number 3 of the day.
You should mention, it would have been a tough play anyway. That was a pretty hard hit ball, and with the infield playing in, I'm not even sure they would have gotten over up the middle. I mean, because he did hit that ball pretty up the middle there, so it would have been a tough play for Foster or O'Connor to actually get over there.
Well, we'll never know how that one would have turned out. Takes a bad bounce off the mound, gives the Cougars a 2-run lead, and now going down looking is Zagerman on 3 strikes. So with 2 outs, it'll be Hickman. Hickman, an RBI single last inning. That scored the first run of the day. As he's working with a runner on first and 2 outs, has to reach safely to keep the inning alive. As that pitch is inside. Nice block there by Stolz to get in front of it and slide over.
For a team that likes to play the long ball, it's been a fairly dink-and-dunk afternoon. Last time out here in the Thunderdome, they hit 5 home runs in the second game against Aurora, and that's an Aurora team that's nationally ranked, has been, and 5 home runs in that game. We've yet to see one. Only the 1 extra base hit was just a ground ball that found the corner.
So this is a very home run happy ballpark, especially for the home team, the Cougars. And like Troy said, I haven't seen one from them or the Willamette Bearcats yet, as the 2-0 pitch is inside and makes it 3-0. So after a 3-pitch strikeout to Zagerman, Daly issues 3 balls and no movement in the Bearcat bullpen. So this is Daly's game definitely for this inning, and unless they get someone up quickly, probably next inning as well, as there's the first strike. Both of those runs scored are unearned after the pass the ball from Stolz allowed Anderson and Kasich to advance in the scoring position. As that ball popped up, drifting back and getting under it is Furbit for the 3rd out. So stayed in play just long enough. So we are going to head now to the top of the 7th. Cougars They're back in control of the Bearcats. 4-2 is your score as we head to the next inning. We'll be back here in just a second on the Cougar Sports Network.
Cougar fans, we appreciate you turning in today's game. To stay up to date on all things CUC Baseball,
follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CUC Baseball.
We'll see you on campus soon.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mom.
Top of the 7th underway here as we are in the back third of today's game between the Cougars and the Bearcats. CUC up 4-2 after a 2-run inning. A stat correction. One of those 2 runs is in fact earned. As now we have a quick visit between Coach Connor of the Cougars and the home plate umpire Jim Nealon. Not really able to deduce what they're talking about. As now Nealon having a chat with the head coach of the Bearcats, Mike Caduto. Maybe asking about the batting order, as basically last inning for the Bearcats, Leighton Wagner came up as a pinch hitter, but the Cougars got out of the inning. During his at-bat, a back pick from Mahler to first caught the runner sleeping, and since then, Wagner was replaced by Carter Stoles, the catcher, the new catcher for the Bearcats, who's at the plate now, as he takes a strike from the new Cougars pitcher, another new name, Connor Fitzgerald, a transfer to CUC this year. 15.43 ERA in 5 appearances, just 2 1/3 worked, as he gets a swinging strike there for number 2. So lots of changes in these last couple innings, both defensively and in the lineup. As you see Fitzgerald get the sign he likes from Mahler, and that one in the dirt. Mahler able to stay in front of it.
Don't think that Willamette brought their entire roster on the trip. It looks like the dugout is not as full as there are as many names on this roster.
Yeah, this is a very large roster for Willamette. I mean, as there's a swinging strike for number 3 on Carter Stoll, so Connor Fitzgerald off to a good start here in his first inning of work, but just looking at the roster, I don't have the exact number, but it looks like we're looking at about 40 names, maybe a little over 40. bench looks exactly that deep, that many deep, I should say. Either way, no matter how many players they have on the dugout, it is Tasso Foster at the plate as he takes ball number 2 from Connor Fitzgerald. Foster reached on an error, a walk, and then grounded out in his last at-bat. As the 2-0 is inside, makes it 3-0.
And while you're talking about the Cougars' first 3 hitters struggling early on in this game, the Bearcat hitters are hitless. The first 3, I should say, are hitless so far this afternoon as well.
Yeah, and of them, Foster's reached base on a walk, and so has Granucci, as that'll be ball 4. So Foster reached base on a walk and an error, I should say, and now he's reached base again on another walk, his second of the day. And then Granucci's reached on an error. Jeff Hoffman, who's at the plate now. Excuse me.
Third baseman number 26.
It is Jeff Hoffman. There we go. Hoffman at the plate now. Maybe the biggest surprise of the day, as again he came in leading the Northwest Conference in OPS and batting average and slugging. And so far, he's got nothing to show for it but a fly out, a double play, and a strikeout as he takes strike 1 from Fitzgerald.
That's a good breaking ball there on the first pitch there from Fitzgerald.
And that pitch way upstairs, right at eye level of Hoffman. So he peels off, makes it 1-1. The 1-1. That ball bounced foul. Crater scoops it up. To count as Fitzgerald checks the runner at first. Next offering, that one popped up and goes back foul. Behind the stand, so no harm done other than Hoffman gets to stay alive for another pitch. Hoffman should be followed up by Granucci unless he hits into a double play here with Foster at first. And here's the 1-2 and low and away, ball 2. Interesting note about Fitzgerald is we've seen the Cougars being utilizing a watch technology this season to get the pitches from their catcher. That's all the watch does is give you the pitch, so that kind of negates the need for signs and any miscommunication that might happen there. But Fitzgerald is still doing it the traditional way, as I don't see him looking at a watch. He's just staring down Mahler.
Yeah, he's wearing it. It's right under his
you can
glove
see the
wrist,
black band, unless it's just a wristband, but it does look like the watch. As the 2-2 from Fitzgerald is also fouled off, but I haven't seen him like really look at it yet, as he's really just looking at Mahler.
Yeah, he is. You're right.
Probably a preference thing that all these pitchers have to decide. As convenient as it might seem, I'm sure some of them like to just get signs the old-fashioned way. As Fitzgerald gets set, the 2-2. Good block there by Mahler to get in front of it. And that makes it 3-2 now. Speaking of Mahler, has recently announced that he'll be joining the Illinois Valley Pistol Shrimp this summer, a member of the Prospect League, Collegiate Summer League. Will be playing there with his current teammate Tyler Dorish, as this one grounded to Boswell. There's that second for one to throw to first in time. Good dig by Michael Kasich. That was in the dirt. He's able to scoop it out. And Jeff Hoffman, his second double play he's hit into today. He's got to be getting frustrated as the Cougars will head to the bottom of the 7th after the stretch, and they are still on top of the Bearcats. 4-2. We'll be back in just a second on the Cougars Sports Network. Back here on the Cougar Sports Network, CUC on top of Willamette 4-2. But before we get going, do want to announce that it has been Alumni Day here at the Thunderdome. So this is a very esteemed group of alumni, and they're coming back to where a lot of history has been made at the Thunderdome. As this is a team who has made World Series runs, national rankings, and numerous conference championships. So this is a very, very special group of alumni. You can see all of them kind of floating around behind the Cougars dugout, enjoying this what it's like to be back here where, like I said, so many achievements were reached. World Series, conference championships. One of the most successful teams historically on CUC's campus, as they're trying to continue that success with a big win here today over a team who, like I've said multiple times, is receiving national top 25 votes this year. But they are trailing the Cougars 4-2, as Tyler Dorsch has a 2-1 count against Samuel Daly, back in it for his second inning of work. As Dorsch swings through that one, makes it 2-2. It's a 2-2. This is a hopper to the third baseman. Hoffman throws over and making the grab is Piazza. And Troy, despite we talk about Hoffman's difficulties at the plate today, he's looked really sharp over at third base. I mean, that 5-3 throw is one of the hardest in the infield. I mean, it's probably the hardest in the field just due to the distance. But Hoffman and Piazza, or what is now Furbit, I meant to say, have really had that connection down all day long.
Yeah, he's done a nice job out there, and that was a good example of him controlling which hop he took that ball on, where he read the ball off the bat and judged the first couple hops to realize that he was going to stay put rather than continue to charge that ground ball hit by Dorsch. So by staying put, allowed him to receive the higher hop at the waist and then fired first.
As Cajigas fouls this down the line, makes it 1-1. Cajigas 0 for 3 on the day, a pair of strikeouts and a flyout. Only member of the Cougars' top third of the lineup without a hit yet. As the 1-1 is in the dirt, skips away from Stoles, but no base runner on, so no damage done. Cajigas will be followed up by Brandon Mahler for sure. And then in the hole right now is Tyler Crater. Cougars have to have someone reach safely to get to Crater. As the 2-1 inside, Cajigas has to pull his hands back. Makes it 3-1. 3-1 popped. Foul behind the stands. So Daly able to work it to a full count here. Daly over the 30 pitch count now. As he ran into some trouble in his first inning of work, giving up 2 runs, one of which was earned as Cajigas pops this one up. It's in fair territory, and making the grab is the right fielder, Hamburger. So 2 outs, and now it'll be Brandon Mahler. He's still looking for his first hit of the day. First trip to the base paths as well. 2 ground outs to third and short, and a fly out to left so far for Mahler. That was a deep fly out as well. That was with the bags loaded. Probably had grand slam on a couple people's minds. Is that one? Ooh, almost takes his head off. He leans out of the way of it, high and inside. We've seen a lot of those, it feels like, today. A lot of those head-level pitches. Mahler able to get out of the way of it. The 1-0 now. And that one does hit him. Oh, my gosh. Feels like every inning we see these pitches get more and more inside, and now Mahler gets pegged by one.
Yeah, he stared down the dugout and then stared down Daly a little bit, but eventually tossed his elbow guard and bat towards the dugout and walks down to first.
Not the most pleasant way to reach base, but I'm sure at this point the Cougars will take a base runner. And Mahler doesn't look any worse for wear because of it. He's a catcher. They're usually pretty tough people. As for Crater, 0 for 3 on the day. Pair of flyouts to center and then 1 to the second baseman. As, you know, 1 from Daly after a long look misses. Makes it 1-1. Daly delivers the 1-1. That's in there for a strike. It makes it 1-2.
Mahler's doing a lot of dancing down there at first base, just trying to draw the attention of Daly to get his focus off of Crater at first. You know, he was hopping back and forth there.
Maybe trying to get Stoles to pull the trigger on a back pick, as it looked like he thought about it there. Instead, he just pockets the ball, ends up throwing it back to Daly, but again, we saw Stoles. He allowed a pass ball, which was the big reason that the Cougars got 2 runs last inning. So he's not exactly in top form as he's just checked into the game last inning. The 2-2 over Kasik's head. Crater's head, excuse me. I meant to say Crater. As Daly looks a little wild here this inning. 2 pitches that have almost nailed CUC batters in the head, and then one that hit Mahler right in the arm.
Do have action in both bullpens, as we've seen be the case the last few innings.
3-2 from Daly. As Mahler takes off, Crater launches this one into right. Is it going to stay fair? No. That ball just kept on drifting into foul territory. Mahler was already almost at third, halfway between second and third. As he has to now take the walk of shame back to first.
Yeah, he'd have scored had that stayed fair. You know, moving on a full count, 2-out pitch anyway.
Here's the 3-2. That one fouled right back at us. So it'll remain a full count on Crater, trying to get his first base appearance of the day. As the 3-2 outside and low, ball 4. So hit by pitch, found up by a walk from Daly, and now it'll be Kasich as we see Caduto come out. Is he going to make a switch here? And it sure looks like it. He signals to the bullpen, so that'll do it for Sam Daly's day. He leaves the runners on first and second with 2 outs, as we'll have a new arm coming in for the Bearcats. More info about that when we're back here on the Cougar Sports Network in just a second. New pitcher on the mound for the Bearcats is the number 29, Brady Joyner. Joyner going to Willamette out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Senior right-handed pitcher who has quite an interesting motion on the mound, as he issues a strike to Michael Kasich. You can really see him. I don't know how well you can see on the camera, but his right hand really dips back almost at the end of it, as that pitch just swung on for a strike. Whatever it is, it's been working for him. 10 appearances on the year, a 1.64 ERA, 1 win, 1 loss across 11 innings, and 4 saves, which leads this team. So Mike Caduto bringing him in to try and shut down this Cougs offense, as Kasich lines that one back foul.
Kind of a fun tidbit here for you, Peter. Both teams have 2 players out of Chandler, Arizona, but Kasich here out of Chandler High School, and so is Taj Arona, number 42, the sophomore for Willamette. So 4 players on the field from Chandler, Arizona, 2 players, 1 from each team from Chandler High School.
As that ball fouled back, but yeah, the Cougars, a big Arizona recruiting school. I mean, I think you mentioned Kasich's from out there. Tyler Dorsch is also from there. Xavier Zagerman, who we've seen in the lineup today, and then White McLaughlin's from Arizona. Tyler Crater's from Arizona. As Kasich is going to take a ball, makes it 1-2. Which is funny. You would think the team in Oregon would have more Arizona products, but CUC up there just as much, if not more, by the looks of it. As Kasich swings through that one for strike 3. So Joyner comes in, gets the job done, 1 up, 1 down, and that'll end the inning with 2 runners on base. So we head now to the top of the 8th. The Bearcats, they still got to make up a 2-run deficit as they trail the Cougars 4-2. You're watching the Cougars Sports Network. Elliot Higgins takes the mound for CUC. The sophomore has a 14.40 ERA and 7 appearances so far this year, 5 innings of work. And that'll do it for Connor Fitzgerald's day. 1 inning pitched, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout for him across 19 pitches. And now the Cougars turn it over to the next man up, number 22, as the Bearcats will be starting the inning off with Rocco Granucci.
It's been a pretty good day for Cougars pitchers trying to lower the ERA. We've only seen 1 earned run given up by the Cougars so far this afternoon.
Granucci, meanwhile, he's reached base once, a walk in the 6th inning. That he struck out and he's lined out. Now he's got a 2-0 advantage on Elliot Higgins. That pitch fouled off for the first strike, 2-1. Higgins, a sophomore out of Park Ridge, Illinois. As the 2-1 is in there for a strike. That was a nice piece of framing from Brandon Mahler. That looked outside, but Mahler may be able to steal one there. As it's evened up, 2-2. The next offering, that one, no luck. 3-2 the count. The 3-2 misses for ball 4. So 3 pitches to very similar spots, and 2 of them ended up being a ball. We got the 4 balls, and so Granucci takes his place at first, and that'll bring up Carl Lawson, who has a fly out and then reached on a single and reached on a fielder's choice. He's also scored a run today. That's the second run scored by the Bearcats, as this pitch in there for a strike. And that ball is popped up, and coming in for the grab is Hickman. A quick pop fly, and that'll make it 1 out.
Yeah, good shot there. Lucky the Cougars that was straight away to center field and not into one of the gaps, because that would have been an extra base hit and possibly an RBI as well.
Showing bunt and pulling back was Nate Hamburger, but Hamburger pulled it back. It still landed in the strike zone. As for Hamburger, as he gets out of the way of that ball, this is his first at bat. As Barry came into pinch run for Piazza. As that pitch right down the middle for strike number 2. And on the year, Hamburger, 250 average. He's 16 at-bats as that one blown away. It's a 2-2. Two, blown away again, makes it 3-2.
And Higgins is one of those players for the Cougars that has more walks than strikeouts so far this season. He's got 7 walks and 4 punch-outs.
And that ball popped foul. So it's set to do it again.
I suppose eight walks now with Granucci's here this inning.
That ball popped up. This one is also drifting foul, and it just does. right behind the Cougars dugout. So staying alive for another pitch is Hamburger. Count still full at 3-2. Pitch down low, ball 4. So good fight from Hamburger as he draws the second walk of the inning from Higgins. And with 2 runners on, 1 out, it will be Charlie Furbit who fly out a double play and a walk so far today, as now Coach Connor taking a walk out. And I don't believe it'll be a call to the pen. It isn't. Just wants to have a chat with this sophomore hurler. And he also calls in Mahler. Well, it gives us a good break to talk about the other CUC team in action today, or one of the other ones. Men's tennis had a 10:30 matchup at Wisconsin Lutheran College, but the counterparts of baseball, softball, playing up in Milwaukee at Alverno College, currently demolishing the Inferno 15-1 in the 5th inning, as they're on verge of a run roll victory over the Inferno. 5 innings after 5. If you're up by 8, that does it for the game. As this ball is popped up, Boswell going back for it, still going back, makes the grab for out number 2.
It was a good job there by Boswell getting back. And sometimes that the lip from where it goes dirt to grass can be tricky to navigate, but able to keep track of that one, especially with the sun shining bright here this afternoon as well. So that'll be a quick second out.
So now the pressure is really on Wyatt Thames, who has a hit today, a strikeout, and a sac fly as he takes the ball there. Bearcats are down to their final 4 outs of the game. They still need to make up 2 runs, and you got the Cougars guaranteed at least another half inning of offense in the bottom of this inning as Thames swings through that for strike number 1. So of course, with a runner in scoring position, it would be ideal to get at least 1 back now, and hopefully in the 9th, you only have to worry about another run. But Elliott Higgins trying to shut that down as the 1-1 is in the dirt. Mahler able to stay in front of it. So that makes it 2-1.
And so far this afternoon, the Bearcats are only 4 of 24 hitting that 167 mark, but 2 of 4 with runners in scoring position, 500. So there's another opportunity here.
And that ball is fouled. Makes it 2-2. Thames just trying to stay alive here. Get on base, get another batter chance, and maybe even score a run while he's at it. 2-2 count. Elliott Higgins gets set and delivers this ball high and in. Ball 3. Good patience there from Thames with 2 strikes on the board. On deck is Liam O'Connor. He's got a hit today as well. As the 3-2 in there, strike 3. Big strikeout for Elliott Higgins, and that strands 2 runners on, which means we head now to the bottom of the 8th. Last chance for the Cougars to add some runs on before they attempt to shut it down in the top of the 9th. We'll see what happens when we come back here on the Cougar Sports Network in just a second.
batter leads off the bottom of the 8th for the Cougars.
The number 7 batter is up for CUC. It is Caleb Anderson. Anderson, a pair of walks today, a pair of runs scored as well, as he watches that one go by for a ball. Joyner still on the mound for Willamette.
So this is the time for the Cougars to add some insurance runs here. Now they've got a 2-run lead with Willamette only having 3 more outs to tie this game up. So now you're the Cougars just hoping to stretch this lead a little bit further, make it that much harder on the Bearcats to climb back into this one.
2-1 now on Anderson after that pitch finds its way home for a strike. That pitch swung on and missed for strike 2. Evens out the count now. Two. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Second straight strikeout for Brady Joyner since he checked in. And with 1 out, no one on, it'll be Sean Boswell. 3 hits and 3 at-bats, including a 2 RBI single in the 6th. That is currently the separator in today's game. As that was where runs 3 and 4 for CUC. So Boswell can try to add on to an already fantastic day he's having as he drills this one deep into left field. If it stays fair, it's gone. Does it? And it does not. Yeah, Sean Boswell. Oh, my goodness.
Yo, I swear, even though I didn't say it that loud, freaking
Gave that ball the best ride of the day. And it just goes on the wrong side of the foul line pole.
That's tough. We mentioned it earlier in the game that he was one of the 2 Cougar players with plus 50 at-bats without a home run, and that would have done it right there for him. Would have also been a 4-hit day, which is a really tough thing to do.
Well, he's still capable of that, as it's only 1-1 now. About the furthest hit strike you'll see is this ball. Misses, ball 2.
And that's the attitude as a pitcher, is you just look at that and say, hey, that's just a long strike.
So you can't get too caught up and just got to keep doing what you're doing, especially for Brady Joyner, who's looked good. Well, now he falls in a 3-1 hole here.
Just careful not to put another fastball over the plate.
As that one fouled off, also takes a tip off of Stolz's mask. He's got the full catcher's helmet on. So 3-2 count on Boswell, the offering. Swung on and missed, strike 3. So after the first pitch was sent for a ride, Joyner comes back and gets the 3rd straight swinging strikeout of the end of his relief outing today. 3 batters up, 3 down for him, and now trying to get the 3rd out of this inning, he'll have to face Xavier Zagerman. Ground out, a walk, and a strikeout looking on the day for the freshman as he gets out of the way of that one. Just by the way Joyner throws, I don't think you want to wear one off the arm from him. A lot of power behind his pitches as the 1-0 is in there, makes it 1-1.
When the Bearcats return, they'll have 8-9-1 to the plate.
As there's a swinging strike.
So it'll be O'Connor, who's 1 for 2 today. Stoltz is 0 for 1, and his first at-bat, he came in for Davis.
The 1-2, and he gets a piece of it, but still making the catch is Stoltz, so that'll do it. 4 batters faced, 4 swinging strikeouts for Brady Joyner, and we will head to the top of the 9th. Cougars, they have a chance to shut things down here. As they are 3 outs away, we'll see who they bring in to try and do it on the mound. When we come back here in just a second, don't go anywhere. You're watching the Cougar Sports Network. Well, it's down to the final 3 outs for Willamette as the Cougars will be throwing Elliot Higgins back out there to try and finish off the day. And it'll be a pinch hitter for Willamette. Number 4, Drew Baskin. Baskin, 305 batting average so far this season. 10 doubles at his 4th best in the Northwest Conference. 2 triples at his 6th most. 9 walks at his 5th most. So 9 hit by pitches, excuse me. So this is a guy who gets on base in a multitude of fashions. That he goes first pitch swinging, skips that foul ball into the Willamette dugout.
Yeah, and this is a guy that's played and started 25 games this year, so appears to be as though he just had the day off today.
And now they're going to turn to him to try and get this inning started off right. And 0-2 count, however, to Higgins, who coming back after last inning of work. Trying to shut this bullpen day down for CUC. As swing and a miss, strike 3. Second straight strikeout for Higgins. First swinging strikeout of the day for Higgins. And with 1 out, it'll now be another pinch hitter. It will be at number 5, Clint Walker, who another player who has started a lot so far this year. 23 games played, 22 starts, at 358 average for him. So Willamette bringing out some of their usual names to try and make something happen here. Right now it's a 1-1 count for Walker. After Walker, will be back to the top of the lineup with Foster. Swing and a miss there. As Higgins has got these batters swinging at everything. The 1-2. Outside. Makes it 2-2. Walker so far this year, as he stays alive on that pitch, he struck out 24 times at his 2nd most on the team, trailing only Granucci with 25. So this is a swing-happy player. And the next pitch fouled off again, this time to the CUC dugout.
Baskin, who was the first batter in this inning, homered yesterday in the doubleheader against North Central.
As this ball popped up, Cajigas going back for it and makes the grab for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for Elliot Higgins in the inning, and now the Bearcats down to their final out, and it will be Tasso Foster to try and keep things alive. He's done a good job getting on base today. Of his 3 plate appearances, he's had 2 walks and reached on an error as well. The only time he wasn't on base is when he grounded out in the 5th. So he's doing a good job of it, and he needs to do it again as the Bearcats need at least 2 base runners to tie this one up.
Well, and with a guy like Hoffman standing on deck, this is a really important now because you know that guy can play the long ball, so you just don't want to bring that tying run to the plate here.
And 9 home runs on the year for Hoffman, and Foster looks at strike 1 there, 1-1.
And after an 0-for-4 day for Hoffman, it would really make up for that if he were able to put one over and tie the game. So you just want to handle this where it's at right now if you're Higgins.
Foster takes strike 2, so 1-2. Yeah, that I would be saying that he's due after he goes 0-for-4. So just trying to avoid that out of the dangerous Jeff Hoffman. 1-2 count on Foster. The pitch from Higgins. Did he go? He did! Or they called a strike. Either way, it's the end of the ball game. 2 innings of work for Elliot Higgins. He shuts it down, and the Cougars get a big win over a team receiving top 25 votes in the Willamette Bearcats. And the Cougars, they walk away with a 4-2 victory.
Well, whether or not you like the call, it ends this one here. Did appear to be outside, but was a rather inconsistent day, I suppose, behind the plate.
So CUC walks away, doubling up Willamette 4-2, and that'll be a big non-conference win for CUC. Really just a confidence booster for the Cougars as they are still making their way through conference play. So we'll have more info about that on the second. For now, let's look at the box score of today. Cougars take it 4-2 over the Willamette Bearcats. Cougars did it on 6 hits, 2 errors. They left 8 on base, while the Bearcats scored 2 runs on 4 hits, no errors. They also left 8 on base. In terms of the Cougars, the main man for the day, Yashawn Boswell, had himself 3 hits on 4 at-bats, also had a pair of RBIs. RBIs also came from Tyler Dorsch and Eli Hickman. As for the pitchers, everybody got in on the action. The win will go to Kyle Stan, his 1 inning of work, and the save, a 2-inning, 6-out save for Elliot Higgins. Meanwhile, for the Willamette Bearcats, the loser of today's matchup, they got RBIs from Luke Piazza as well as Wyatt Thames. The losing pitcher goes to Samuel Daly. He's now 1-1, 1 2/3, gave up 2 runs, one of which was earned, and kind of ruins a very nice start from Stephen Verespi. 5 innings pitched, gave up 2 runs, both of which were earned, 2 strikeouts as well. But Troy, let's get your final thoughts on what was a really great day for CUC in terms of the pitching side. Obviously, the offense put 4 up. They got the job done. But this was really a highlight of how deep and how good this pitching staff can be.
Yeah, it was not the day that I expected, and I said it a few times, and especially in the pregame, was I was expecting a lot of runs on the board today. And, Willamette came in scoring almost 13 runs per game as of late, and the Cougars upwards of 9. So, and that was kind of the game that I was expecting, but much different what we saw today. A good duel from the Cougars bullpen, really, and it was a strong day from Verespi of the Bearcats, and he had a good 5 innings pitched, only gave up those 2 runs, and through the first 4 innings, the Cougars showed absolutely no signs of life offensively, and he really had their number, did Verespi. And once Daly came in for the Bearcats, that's when the Cougars were kind of able to take control and add those 2 runs in the 6th inning. And the bullpen did just what they needed to do, especially though McCleary and Higgins had great days. Both of those gentlemen pitching multiple innings for the Cougars and neither allowing a run. So good days from the Cougars bullpen, exactly what they needed after playing 9 games in 9 days, as they'll get to take a few days off before traveling to Beloit to return to NAC conference play. They'll play a doubleheader against Rockford University.
So Kyle Stan gets the win. He's 1-0. Sam Daly 1-1 on the loss, and then Elliot Higgins gets the save, his first of the year. Cougars take it 4-2. I want to say thanks to everyone making today's production possible. Our producers, Amaya Martin and Lindley Southern. Working the stats was Sydney Lloyd. Taking photos, Leela Scott. I was joined by Troy Prattley all day long on the Cougar Sports Network. We're under the direction of Sydney Palacios-Laher and our sports information director, Cale McLeod. But don't go anywhere just yet. We got a post-game interview with head coach of the Cougars, Colin Connor, coming just up. So stick around for just a second. Post-game interview coming up shortly here on the Cougar Sports Network. Welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network. Peter Borkowski here, joined by head coach of the CUC baseball team, Coach Colin Connor. Coach, congrats on a win over a very talented Willamette team. This is a team receiving top 25 votes nationally. Just kind of talk us through. I mean, we're in the middle of conference play, and you have a non-con against a very talented team. What does this mean for you and your squad just to get the win here today?
Yeah, man. I mean, this is the game that allows you to take off. You know, it allows you to kind of get it going, and we've had a tough week. You know, we've had a tough run in terms of who we've played and where we've run up against. I think we have the 38th strength of schedule in all of Division III.
Oh, wow, yeah.
You know, so that puts you in a really hard spot. But I think the first part, which you're going to get to in a second, is you just got to give it up for the pitching staff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that was huge by them. We needed it. A lot of our main guys were down today. You know, so we went full night shift. They gave us a chance all the way through. Offensively, it took us a little bit to get going. They saved their number 2 for us, you know. So I think that's a respect thing. You know, that's a top 25 team. This is as big as a win as we've had all year. So there's to answer your question a really long way.
Right. Well, let's talk about that pitching staff. You guys came in. You knew it was going to be a bullpen day, and we saw a ton of pitchers, but the highlights easily Brady McCleary and Elliott Higgins. Those guys went multiple innings each. But even besides them, just talk about, like, the versatility of this team. You had guys who are mostly relief pitchers. You have guys who've had starts as well. I mean, just the ability to throw out a multitude of guys, different types of pitchers, different, you know, roles on the team, and for them to just give up 2 runs against a very, very good offense in Willamette.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was just as good as it gets in the sense that, you know, we've talked about confidence all year. You have the up and down, and, you know, you have the youth of the pitching staff, and you have the pressure from me. You know, there's a lot of pressure on those guys, and they're putting that pressure on themselves, you know. And today you just finally saw who those guys can be when they allow themselves to be that. So it was awesome, and I cannot express enough how proud I am of the pitching staff today, because once again, we've heard it a million times, if you give our offense a chance, we'll always give you a chance to win.
Right.
So very, very, very proud of Elliott, especially to bounce back after yesterday. You know, it wasn't all his fault yesterday. It's never one guy's fault, but to get back out there and to win the game for us was huge. Brady McCleary was in the rotation at the beginning of the year, you know, and just kind of fell out of it. And today you saw the reason why we saw him as a starter early in the year. So just so proud of those guys. And our message was just, you have to ride this all the way through now. We ride this type of win to the conference tournament.
Right. Well, let's talk about the future. You guys are going to Beloit to face Rockford on Wednesday. You're taking on the Rockford, the host team, at Beloit's Field. How do you guys build off of this? How do you ride that momentum? You're back in conference play on Wednesday, senior days on Saturday. Then this is a big week for you guys. How do you build off of what you saw here today in this non-con into those conference matchups?
Yeah, I mean, the first part is just, I mean, you ride it based on what we've been through.
Right.
You know, we played 3 top 25 teams this week. You know, and we went on an 8-game lose streak, and we saved it yesterday with a split. We used the momentum of the weather and the time of the year and leading into conference play. And the other thing is there's nothing we haven't seen. There's literally nothing this team hasn't seen. So you show up expecting to win, but you also understand that you can't just show up. So it's a mixture of all those things. I'm just really proud that the guys believe in each other and they have trust. And, you know, we talked early this week about going back to the basics, and, you know, we did that, and look what happened today.
Right.
You know, and with the split yesterday. So we have momentum. This is a game of momentum. Sports are momentum in general. So just don't do too much, and just understand that we are ready. We can do it, and we can play with anybody.
Definitely. Well, CUC back in conference play this Wednesday. They're taking on Rockford University at Beloit. Coverage for both of those games can be found on our website, cucougars.com. Coach Connor, congrats on the win today, and good luck this upcoming week. But until next time, this is Peter Borkowski signing off of the Cougar Sports Network, and wanting to say, as always, go Cougars.
So much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.